Ooh. And we're back here at the Pursuit of Coziness. Almost forgot the names. It's been so long. But
2 months, huh?
Yeah, we're trying to do it like once a month, but shit's hard, you guys.
Yeah, it's rough.
Hard to do the regular pod, the cozy show, and then fit this in somewhere. So
yeah, but I think we could do it now. We're gonna be just a touch, maybe better.
Yeah,
just
I think especially when we live together is when I'm really hyped for, because I'm like, it's like perfect. You know, like we're gonna have so many opportunities to fucking. God, it's so weird being this close to you.
You wanna kiss me?
But I'm gonna try to do this with no.
Oh, did you do timer?
I'll try to do no editing in this, but fuck it, I'll just do it just in case.
It's okay, I'm gonna try to drop hella names.
There we go. Yeah, perfect.
I'll drop your therapist names.
So this is our podcast where we talk about therapy and mental health and all that shit that, you know, a lot of people are, you know, it's kind of stigmatized to talk about. And
sure.
Yeah, there's our own space for that. So I think where we left off last time, we talked about how we got into therapy and, you know, what pushed us to get there, kind of. And then you talked about, like, how your first session was and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I never finished, well, I never even started talking about my first session.
Yeah.
Which it's been a while now. So I think I started in August.
How many sessions?
It might have been on Lindsay's birthday.
I think you probably have had like maybe 12 sessions since you started,
or more. Yeah, maybe.
Because
I'm
there. At like 7. And I think you're like a month.
Do you remember Remember when we floated down the river for Lindsay's birthday?
Yeah.
Was that on her birthday? Because that was my first day of therapy. It was right before we floated.
I feel like no, because we weren't saying like happy. Oh, we were singing happy birthday.
But I think it was her birthday that day.
Makes sense.
I think it was. Why do I feel like this is never right? But yeah, it was my first day, and I don't know. It was kind of rough, honestly. Like,
yeah,
because it's like we've talked about this before, but I don't know. I feel like you have all these reasons that you should be in therapy and you want to be in therapy, and then when they ask you like, "Why are you in therapy?" It's like,
yeah,
you know,
it's like so overwhelming, but then it's just blank.
Like, well, this and this and this. But yeah, I kind of just went blank. But yeah, so we tried to kind of like, I don't know, dig into that, and I was just like, I don't know. I just like I get really anxious, and I just think there's a lot of things I could be better at, and you know, handle situations differently or whatever. But one of the big things I talked about was like the way I talk to myself.
For the first time?
Yeah, on the first session was like, I was like, I don't like how critical I am of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I feel like it's not even like that much of a problem anymore.
Well, because of therapy?
I used to be way like, I think what's more of a problem is how hard I am on myself. Like, just with anything. Like, I just have really high standards for things, especially when it comes to like the podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we talked about that. She told me whenever I start talking to myself like negatively in my head that I have to tell myself you're not allowed to talk to yourself that way.
Nice.
Because she's like, it's abuse. It's abuse to yourself because you wouldn't talk to anybody else that way. Mm-hmm. And it would be abusing somebody else if you talk to them that way. And I was like, that's pretty good, you know?
Yeah, because you're technically like cursing yourself out and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And which you do a lot, by the way.
Yeah, he called me out on it.
Yeah.
Recently we were on a phone call and I was like, I think I forgot something. I was like, fuck, or my keys or something. No,
this is what you do. You'll be like, fuck, forgot my fucking keys. Stupid bitch, stupid. You say stuff like that. But you've done that for like years.
Idiot.
Yeah. You call yourself really bad names. And I'm like, damn, that can't be good, you know?
I think I'm just saying it up for like the documentary.
For the... What?
It's like, yeah, man, it's just like the behind the scenes where I'm like, fuck, I'm fucking an idiot. And he's like, he was a perfectionist. That's where he got where he was.
He was a perfectionist.
Yeah. No, I think it is kind of like...
After you die from texting and driving?
Dude, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely hard. And like, it's just easy. It's not as harsh as you think, like, because you're saying to yourself, you know? And then, like, I'm sure when you hear that, you're like... And now that you're aware, too, you're like, oh, shit, you know?
Yeah, but... honestly, it's kind of hard to remember my first therapy session, so I'm not going to go crazy into it.
It's been so long. There's been so many of them.
I think, because that was in August, and now it's December. So, what, fucking 4 months? 3 months?
Yeah.
That I've been doing this?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a while. And I just remember it was so fucking hard to open up to my therapist because it's just a fucking stranger, you know? I was like, God, this is a stranger. It's really hard for me to open up, which...
Real quick, sorry. If you haven't seen, we talked about, like, most of the leading up process and why we wanted to go in our first kind of session, even though he's explaining more of his first session on the first one. So go check that one out too if you're kind of like, oh, he didn't go through some stuff.
Yeah,
which I think we talked about a lot in the beginning of the first stuff. Anyways, keep going.
But yeah, I didn't expect that, but it was fucking so hard to like just start talking about like my insecurities and fucking, you know, all this stuff. But since then, it's like the trust has grown, and like I've definitely, even now though, I fucking still struggle, which, you know, hopefully we'll get into right now.
And you were saying that like a lot of the I think that trust is built because a lot of the times your therapist doesn't have as harsh of a reaction as you expect, or just a crazy reaction or a reaction as you expect to some information.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think that trust gets built because you're like, oh, actually, I can say honestly anything besides anything incriminating.
Yeah.
You know.
And she told me, because I think at first she was like a little, not like frustrated with me or anything, but like I just felt embarrassed and like tense because I was struggling to open up, and she could tell, you know, and she was like, come on, like, you know, just tell me and stuff. I was like, fuck. But she told me later on, like maybe like a month ago, she was like, you actually have, you know, the trust has built like just the way it should at like a very appropriate pace.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's nice.
Not just like 0 to 100.
But yeah, something we're talking about that we do is like when you're saying some shit that you're kind of embarrassed about, or like ashamed about.
Oh, yeah.
You chuckle when you say it.
Yeah.
I do that all the fucking time. Like in my daily life, and especially in therapy, because that's when I'm really just fucking letting it fly.
And you're just like staring at this person.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's no music, no nothing. Yeah. Hey, sorry, real quick. Have you had technical difficulties with your shit?
Not too bad. One of the things that sucks is like when like me and my sister's schedules don't align to be ideal for therapy, because usually I do it when she's like sleeping still, because she works nights, and that's like the best, because I'm just like, fuck it, like I talk about whatever. But sometimes she's like not sleeping because she's off that day, and that sucks. And I usually drive my car like around the corner, and I'll go sit there. But one other time, my therapist, she travels, like she lives in like a RV, and she just like travels around the United States because she could work from her RV.
You keep going.
Are you cold?
I'm gonna bring a blanket.
Okay.
It's chilling here now.
There's a heater in my room. I should have brought it. But yeah, she travels in like an RV around the country. It's pretty cool because I've never like actually met somebody who really does that. She said it's not that it's all cracked up to be, because I was like, that's so fucking cool, you know? And she's like, it is cool. But she's like, my favorite part is the driving, because she's like, when I'm at a destination for like a few weeks, because she only stays in one place for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm just working the whole time. She's like, most of the time I'm literally just in the RV, like working, you know, doing therapy. So she's like, it's not as great as like, you know, it's so cool, but I don't think it's like, oh, you're just fucking frolicking through the woods all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like,
but yeah, one time she was in Mammoth Lakes, and there was a forest fire. I think that was in August or September. Damn. And I guess
recently
she said the smoke was like interfering with like the connection or something, which I did not know that was like a thing.
Yeah.
But so we had to like call,
hungover,
like just an actual like phone call instead of hungover as fuck.
Yeah, the smoke and the fucking radio waves.
It was an actual phone call instead of a video call. And that was a technical difficulty. Actually, I do have a lot of technical difficulties.
Same with
There's
mine.
a lot of times where we'll freeze and then I can't see her, and then we're like, fuck. So we restart the meeting.
Yeah.
And same here, like all freeze, and then it's like, bam. She's like, I can't see you, but I can hear you. You know.
Dude, yeah, I would say I think ever since I started, 80% of the time it's like one time we had to restart.
Fuck. And
which
then,
is like, it's like slightly frustrating, but I don't really get super discouraged because it's like remote and it's like not everything's perfect, and if anything, it really cuts maybe like 5 minutes of my time.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn, 5 minutes.
Well, it's just like we had to like.
How long are your sessions?
An hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
God, it's nice. Mine are supposed to be 30 to 45 minutes, like 45 max, and every single time she goes an hour.
Nice.
Every time. Like, it always goes over. And I think if I'm her last, like, client of the day, sometimes we'll go, like, an hour and 30.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Don't you feel, like, disrespectful? Because
towards the end, I'm, like, I'm pretty tired. And she'll always apologize. She's like, I'm so sorry for going over. And I'm like, I'm not complaining. You know, I'm getting my money's worth.
I just know, well, why don't it just, like, kind of naturally? Because, like we've said in the past, you feel like an hour's... Or you feel like you have so much stuff to unfold and unpack and resolve. And get game on. That's something we say. Like, just get game.
Putting you on, yeah.
And then you're like, dude, just like, especially when you're just starting, you're like, an hour is not enough. Like, you get overwhelmed. You're like, I'm almost so much shit to say.
I'm almost like, I feel like I almost need it like twice a week sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, like, and I'll fucking always have therapy. Like, fucking 99% of my sessions have been on a Thursday afternoon after I get off work, which Thursdays are my Friday. So I'm in the best fucking mood. Like, I'm in a great place. We still get into it, but like it's always like over the weekends I've noticed where I'm just fucking falling apart. Like my anxiety is through the fucking roof. I feel like shit. Like it's been getting worse, man. It's been bad.
So
but I
maybe
think it's because and I'm like, fuck, like I'm always like, this is when I need her, you know? Like I'm always in such a good mood when I have her, and then fucking
because I think mine's kind of opposite. Because like I have a really good
on your Sunday.
Yeah, I have a really good weekend because no matter what, it's gonna be pretty great, honestly. Because I'm not working, you know? And stuff like that. And then right before I go to work, I've already had like the whole work week and weekend to kind of talk about our stuff, and I feel really good like Wednesday, Thursday. Because I'm like fresh, and Tuesday most of the day. I feel really like decompressed, and like I have kind of a plan, and I'm a little bit more decluttered. And then obviously like once it hits Friday, Saturday, I'm like, okay, like I'm fucking back to like like I need a fix.
When you go into therapy, do you always have something planned to talk about in your head?
It just depends, because she has the icebreaker that we talked about last time, where she's like, if you could describe your work week in one word. If you could describe your week in one word, what would it be? So now that I've gotten used to that, like I kind of have to think a little bit, like, well, what is my week? Like, what is that emotion? What is that feeling? Or
Mine's
tone?
never. She always starts it by asking like, "How was my week?" And then I think she just goes from there. Because like, if it's been shit or if I'm doing bad, I'll be like, "It was okay," and she'll be like, "Uh-oh," and then she's like, "What's going on?" You know. But if I'm like, "It's good," she's like, "Oh," and then we kind of like shoot the shit for like 5 minutes. Just like she updates me on like what she's doing, and then I update her. We get along like so well.
Yeah, because
we're always laughing, and like she shows me her cat.
Aww.
She has a cat named Perla.
Yeah,
it's like so fat. And sometimes I'll see it in the background, just like walking.
I think sick. I haven't got that connection yet, or
really?
Maybe I won't. Just because like sometimes because we have talked a little bit about our personal lives, like obviously her, or more me, but like sometimes her. And I don't know. I get in my head where I'm like, I don't want it to go on for too long, just because like, well, I don't know, like maybe we should get back to business.
Yeah,
you know.
Me too. I try to limit it because she's pretty like talkative, and if I like, I don't sound like a dick, but like if I allow it or like I push it. We'll talk for a while, and sometimes I'm like, no, like I need to fucking I gotta get some shit off my chest,
but and that's like I'm gonna know you for a while, hopefully, so like it'll come and go, like it'll be bit by bit.
Do you feel like your relationship with her is like strictly professional, like it's very professional, or are you guys like friends at all?
No,
or like
I mean it's mostly professional, besides like here and there. Something I like and I don't like about just my therapist, I like it. Okay, so what she does is she does a lot of her own experiences, or like how she deals with things. Because I think sometimes we suffer over like the same conditions and like and same like circumstances.
Yeah.
So she'll be like, oh no, I feel that way too, and how I handle it, or like, I felt that, and I like it because it's like, well, one, it's like personified, so it's like, it just feels like it's coming from a little bit more of a place of a home, you know, like it's not just like you read it in a book, and but the only thing I get scared of is because of that whole like, I like someone who could show me stuff that is not just for them, in a sense. Like, just because you do it does not mean like I want it that way, you know? Yeah. So it's like a hit, and I don't think she does it all the time. So I think it's just, that's why it's like nice, because sometimes, a lot of times she's not saying, oh, I deal with it like this or whatever. But every once in a while she'll be like, no, like sometimes when I feel this way with family or whatever, Yeah. So it's weird. Sorry, that was just something that in my head.
No, it's good. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about my therapist is like, sometimes she will talk about herself a little bit, like disclose, like she's done it like maybe like 1, 2, or 3 times, just a handful of times. But she'll like tell me about a specific like thing that she's gone through, like she went through. But she'll always use it to like prove a point to me, or like show me like, I'm just telling you this so that you can kind of watch out for like this kind of situation. Which is like crazy, because I'm like, oh wow, like I'm getting a lot of insight on you,
It for therapy, now that you've been in it, take a shot every time we say therapy, by the way, I guess.
Don't do that. Not right here, play.
Go to a therapist every time we say therapy.
There you go.
It's interesting now because, I mean, I felt like this way before, but anytime you kind of have like a negative reaction or thought to something, like let's just say jealousy or something, I don't know, weird. Do you ever think, like, do you ever feel like there's more weight to it now that you have a therapist? Because
Fucking
you're like,
absolutely.
like, I know I'm kind of reacting wrongly. Like, you know, like, I know I could be a little bit
like
better.
you're a little more critical of yourself.
Yeah,
like
in a sense where it's like, I know I could cut this off. Or I should. I mean, I should cut this off.
like I should know how to kind of navigate this a
well,
little bit.
and even if we haven't discussed it through therapy, but you kind of, it's just like, I think you're just like a touch more self-aware now. Just being like, even just us or like something fighting or not communicating or whatever. And you're like, I know this is something that might come up in therapy, or like, now that I've been in therapy, I know like these are like negative habits, or
and you don't want to come to them and be like, I handled it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna be like, what the
like,
fuck, you know?
But they're not.
But they're not.
Yeah,
that's
but
the
you
whole
feel like
point.
you're like tails between your, you know, your legs and stuff. I'm like, oh. But yeah, just in general, like even if I'm not talking about my therapist, it's like I feel like sometimes I feel that way where I'm like, oh, like this is weird, because sometimes I think you assume people do like bad things or weird things, because they're like oblivious. But I think it's just like, so obviously there's times where you just know, but it's just how you react. Yeah, you know, and you have to really retrain yourself.
Do you ever have a session that just goes like not good? Like, or because most of the time I have a session and I come out feeling so good, like so much better than I went in. And I feel like I have so much clarity and like awareness and like control over my life and the shit that I usually worry about.
Yeah.
But I just had one, like my most recent one, where like I was counting the fucking days until I could see my therapist. Cause like we talked about it a little bit, but God, it sucks. I want to fucking say everything on here because I want people to know, but it's just like this shit is it's too much personal stuff. It involves other people and all that. But like, yeah, I just like fucking broke down on like Saturday. And my next like appointment wasn't until Thursday.
Jeez.
I was like, fuck. Like, dude, I was dying to fucking see her. Like,
yeah.
It took, every day I was like, I almost want to message her and be like, can I see you sooner? Because I kept checking, but there was nothing sooner. There was, I think for Tuesday and Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning, I could have seen her. I was like, that's not going to fucking happen. I know. Dude, and I was close to doing that too. I was like, fuck, I might just do that and like, go before work or whatever. But I was like,
might have been like really bad.
Like, yeah, I think I just wouldn't have been clear-headed enough. But, dude, I was counting the fucking days. And I didn't see her the week before because Thanksgiving just passed, so she took the whole week off. And she said she hella missed us. She's like, I missed you guys. Like, I almost wanted to just fold and just, like, see all you guys.
Like, not take the time off?
Yeah. But, oh, man, it was rough. Rough week. And then it's just, like, a specific kind of issue I've been struggling with. And it just kind of rock bottom kind of vibe. Sure. But, yeah, I finally fucking got to see her. And I was nervous because, like, dude, I've been building this up. Like, I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to see her to, like, talk about this issue. And then I was hella nervous because I was like, fuck, like, I just feel like she's going to, like, I don't know. I was just nervous. And, like, I knew I know it's a situation where it's, like, it's something that kind of involves, like, other people. And I'm, like, upset at other people. But the problem is within me. Like, the people have no control over the situation. And I'm, like, I don't want to I'm trying to stop looking at things like who's right and who's wrong. But you could say I was in the wrong, you know, for feeling the way I felt. Like, it's like I didn't really have the right to feel the way I was
not you're in the wrong, but you're not in the right. I mean, it's like, it's not black and white, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like you're in the wrong, but like
it's just the way I feel.
Your reaction isn't right.
But it's just like, it's not like we can get in therapy and be like, well, no, fuck them. Or like, you know,
them,
like they should never have done. It's like, no, it's you. Like, you need to change.
Well, some circumstances, right?
And basically, like, for this situation, it was like me fucking describing the issue except for the issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was nervous because I was like, I know, like, my dude, she fucking, like, she'll call me out. You know? She'll definitely, like, she'll point out my bullshit, you know? She'll call me out on my shit. So I knew that was going to happen a lot, so I think I was nervous about that. And it did happen a lot. And
I pressed the arrow.
It's okay. That's like for when you have headphones, it's supposed to turn the volume up and down.
Oh, nice. Okay, sorry.
So you're good. But, yeah, anyways. And that's kind of how it went. Like, you know, she heard me out, and, like, I think it's just me taking shit personally, because I think I have a really hard time with taking, like, criticism. Mm-hmm. I take shit really personally. And, yeah, I just feel like she just kept, like, kind of like flipping what I was saying to be like, but like da 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 da, da and like you did this, and like how can you feel this way when you've done that? And I was like, fuck, like you're right. So it's like she's kind of just calling me out of my shit the whole time. And I did come out feeling a lot better, but I also came out feeling like a piece of shit.
Oh, just because like how you feel, like for how
I felt, and like it's almost like I want somebody to be like,
no, you're right.
Like, you're right. This person's wrong. You have every right to feel that way. You know? It's like that's what I wanted to hear. But it's like I knew I wasn't, and then I didn't. It's like, motherfucker. Like, I just got out feeling like, fuck, man. Like I really have shit to work on.
Yeah.
Like, tough stuff.
I think it's just a reality check, too. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, ain't shit sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you need to fucking do some real work here,
Yeah.
And I did come out with, like, a lot of notes on what I need to, like, journal on.
Nice.
She gave me, like, a lot of shit that she's like, you need to, like, explore this and this and this through journaling. And then we're going to come back and see, like, what you found and, but, yeah, that was a bummer.
No,
because I usually come out feeling like on top of the world,
Yeah, I think the fact that it's like you said, because I think a lot of therapy is validating your feelings, and I think she probably did. I'm sure, like like you do have a right to feel certain ways, and it's or like normal, or whatever. But it is kind of funny sometimes when it's like, oh, like I am, like this is the wrong direction, and these are the wrong tones.
Yeah, and she was even pointing out some like toxic traits I have.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of crazy because I pointed it out. I was like,
"What are you, my ex?"
I feel like I've been doing like this and this and this because of this, and she was like, "I'm just gonna warn you right now. Like that's a really toxic trait because it can lead to like this and that, and it's only gonna lead to like not not good,
wrong direction, wrong path."
I was like, "Fuck," It's gnarly. It's gnarly when they put you in check. I don't know if that happens to you, but like. She does that to me.
I'm trying to think. I don't think so yet. Maybe I'm sure. Maybe, but I know this recent one. A cool thing that she had mentioned, I want to talk about, which was cool, was she was saying like she's reading this book and she's kind of like trying to explain this through I think like DBT or something. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Oh, mine talks about that a lot too.
Yeah, I think mine just talks about it a little better. Yeah. Oh, DBT, yeah, right?
I forget. Dialectical behavioral therapy.
I thought it was just like down bad toys. Yeah, I don't know. She did say the acronym a couple times, and I was like, God knows. I think I tried to write it down, but then she talked too fast, and I was like, I don't know.
Wait, so she's certified in that? Because mine was like, she's like, I'm not certified in DBT, but I think it could really help you. And she's like, I can send you a link to like this workbook. It's like stupid cheap.
Oh shit.
And I think it would help you because it's like all kind of about the way that you like talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And like soothe yourself and like handle, like kind of reroute your thoughts, if I'm not mistaken. Why are you smiling like that?
I told a stupid joke and it just lasted too long. I was like, nah, my therapist took DBT, so we're good. Like the drug, what is it? DMT?
DMT.
I don't know. I just know she was reading the book, like Anxiety and Depression Through DMT or DBT. I'm sorry. But the thing she was saying was like how like anxiety and like depression. Well, one, they're like kind of like linked, of course, like right, like you get anxious and then all this stuff, and then you get depressed about like being anxious or like what you haven't done because you're anxious. And she was saying how it's like. And like anxiety and stuff, a lot of times it's caused because of like conflict, like two conflicts. And it was pretty cool because we were talking about some examples. So like an example was, and like I think something I kind of struggle with a little bit, and like obviously you too, of course. I'm just saying, like I can see this with yours is like going out and like having a good time. I think I told you. Did I tell you about this on the phone? Or
we haven't talked about shit for therapy.
Oh, good.
Literally since like the last pod.
So like going out and having fun and kind of like meeting new people and new experiences. And the other side of that spectrum is like being at home and being safe and like being comfortable,
but not experiencing anything.
And the anxiety part is trying to do like have both.
Oh wow.
And it's conflict. That's the point. It's like it's conflict between two different things that can't really like coexist exactly, or like just you can't do both.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it was cool because it was just kind of like you kind of have to like decide which one do you want to choose, like, and like kind of the earlier I think I think what she's saying is like the earlier a little bit, the better, because then it's like less anxiety trying to figure out like, oh, what do I want to do on this side? And, and then we did a couple examples. There was another, like we did 3 and I had it on my notes. I totally forgot.
Of like
two, like
the conflict,
polar opposites,
like
and the
call
conflict
out
is
sick
trying to
from
pick
work, stay home, be safe, or risk it, make money, and feel a little shitty at work.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, the anxiety is like trying to figure out, like I want to do both.
Sounds like my daily life.
Yeah, exactly. So it really was cool because it was like, oh yeah, like, and it's not saying there isn't a middle, because I think the recent one we were talking about, she was like, okay, we'll go in the middle. Like, like I forgot how it went, but it was kind of like, you don't have to be like 100% this way and this way, but it is helpful to be like, to recognize and like know yourself and be like, okay, well, I have 2 really opposite things, but I want both at the same time. But obviously that's not going to happen.
What do you mean in the middle? Like, is she saying like go from the middle and see which one you go towards?
No, it was like, I can't remember, but I think it was.
Sounds like it's really helping you.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
I think it was like, maybe I think it was like circumstantial. Either it was circumstantial where it's like sometimes go this way, sometimes go this way, or it was like try to do it, but also like go back to the other side whenever you can, like whenever you feel like you need to or something like that. I just can't remember. It was the example. It made more sense because obviously those 2 was like, you can't really go in the middle. You can't go out and you can't be free, or you can't be safe in a sense.
So in a nutshell, can you tell me like how do you solve that issue?
Well, it's like basically
like,
saying it's like,
you?
Well, it's saying is that like the more you kind of know yourself and recognize yourself, instead of being anxious for 30 minutes trying to do both at the same time, it's like, no, like pick a side for the most part. Being like, okay, like I want to like stay in bed and like be comfortable and like relax on TV, but I also want to go out with my friends and like I just got invited to this party and I want to go out and have fun. And the anxiety is obviously like, oh, like I want to stay home.
I want to do both.
Yeah. And I think that middle part is like, I think the middle part could be like, okay, well, I could be at home for like maybe an hour and that'll be okay. And then, like really enjoy my time here and then I'll go out. But also, it's also really good to just be like, okay, I want to be home, but I also want to go out. Well, which one do I really want? Like really, really want. And that's what that like self-awareness and training yourself and not like this weird vague and letting all these outside things kind of happen. And well, that's where like the anxiety lessens, because you're not spending like 20 minutes your whole day, all this stuff, like figuring out what of these 2 things that really hard to have at the same time. It's like, oh, just pick. And I think that was really nice because I think it was like a lot of examples were making sense where it was like, okay, like you feel anxious. Well, like let's look at the 2 sides. Like you want to do this, but you also want to do this, I think you could see that a lot of just being like, oh, I want to work on the pod for 3 hours a day, but I also want to have like a normal social life or go to practice. Yeah. But you can't have both. So let's see what's going on, or you can be in the middle, but you have to like find that structure to it,
Yeah. That's something I've been working on a lot too, is like, it's always fucking like, there's a social event coming up. I don't know if I want to go or not. Or like the day comes and I'm like, fuck, do I want to go? And then
can you give me like 2 seconds to see if I have my notebook in my car?
Yeah.
I just want to see if I do, and then that way that'll like help.
Your body is one.
Wait, real quick before we go. Nice, good talking to yourself. Just distract yourself from the fact that you're a piece of shit and you're worthless.
All right,
just and like inner demon.
And we're back.
I'm trying to remember how that one worked, but it was hope. I found my notes, guys. It was hopelessness and hopeful. But I just remember it being like kind of like 2 sides of the spectrum kind of thing, where it's just like one side is like you're just obviously like hopeless, and the other side you're hopeful. But the other one made more sense, where it was like relaxed and distracted, which was like, a lot of times you're kind of saying like you're relaxed, and you are a little bit, but you're also like very distracted, like you're just on TikTok, you're on like your phone, you're masturbating or whatever.
Do you tell her about masturbating?
Yeah, I talked about that for like 30 minutes at one point.
Do you feel comfortable saying specifically like what you were saying about it?
That's okay. About there. And then another one was, and then the other side of it is prepared and completed. So like that's where anxiety kind of comes in, where it's like, oh, I want to be like relaxed and like I want to be like distracted, but I also want to like be prepared for my tasks. Yeah. Like let's just say I have to we're not in college anymore, but like do an assignment, and it doesn't mean you have to complete it, but it's like I want to be prepared by doing maybe like the outline, the initial draft, or I want to be completed. But you want those two things at the same time.
Now I'm getting it.
Yeah,
it's clicking.
But now the anxiety is like, oh, like I want to be relaxed and I want to like chill, but I also need to like I want to start it or I want to finish it. But now it's like, okay, well, that's the one where it was like meet in the middle, where it's like maybe relax for a little bit, whatever, and then go all the way to prepared, or kind of like realize, oh, my relaxation is more distraction. It's not really relaxed. Yeah. Because it was kind of cool because I was giving her game a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I haven't thought of it like that. Where I was like, nice. I was like, a lot of times I'm relaxing is more distraction. It's like I'm just distracted on my TikTok or whatever, but in my head there's a bunch of stuff that I need to do, and it's not full relaxation. And I think that's why I feel exhausted sometimes, because I'm like, oh, I just relaxed this whole like 2 hours, but it was more like distraction. Yeah. Instead of like completing my task and completing what I want to do, and that's my actual relaxation after let's just say I have to edit the pod. If I edit the pod, if I like just I'm on my phone forever and doing whatever for whatever, I'm kind of relaxing. But I'm also very like stressed about
because you're putting it off, right?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like, I gotta do it. But if I just do the pod early, and then I'm on my phone, and then I'm doing the exact same activities I was doing before, I feel like 10 times more relaxed.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
And she was like, dude, yeah, that's really nice, because she's like, yeah, like some days you're like, dude, I just relaxed all day, but you have a bunch of stuff maybe you should be like you need to do. So she's like, it's definitely better just to kind of get that out of the way, or just doing, that's the whole, it doesn't have to be completed. It could be prepared. So maybe it's not like editing the pod to completion, but maybe it's just like getting it in your computer, like having it there, and you did something, and now you could relax. Yeah. And then you could finish it later, and then you could relax even more, Yeah. Anyways.
One of my professors would like, she was my neuroscience professor in college, and she was talking about how like she would do that to her brain, like, there'd be a fucking fat ass like paper she needed to write. She'd be like, fuck, like just putting it off, dreading it, and like the way she would like, what's it called? The way she would remedy that is, nice. Damn, this guy set up. Yeah. The way she would like, remedy that situation is she would work on like, okay, let me finish a fucking page. Let me finish a few paragraphs, and then I'll watch a movie. Yeah. And then I'll finish a few more paragraphs. I can't see that.
I'm sorry. I just don't want to be super distracting.
And then I'll watch a movie. Or like, she treats herself. So gives herself little rewards. Points. And I'm like, that's nice. And it's like such basic psychology right there. Like,
just feed yourself a little
applied behavior analysis.
Yeah.
It's like fucking the ABCs: action, behavior, consequence. Wait. Basically, behavior and consequence, like you do the fucking portion of the paper. The consequence is that you get to enjoy something, And it's like your brain gets kind of trained that way.
Yeah,
it's like okay, do the good stuff. Do the tough thing first, and then work first, then play.
Yeah, like and it's funny how our brain is like, we have so much shit that we don't like about ourselves, and yet we still do it, even though it's like negative. Yeah, it's negative reward. It's consequences.
Wait, what do you mean? Can you be specific?
Like, I mean, I think the big thing that we always talk about is like deadlines, like just doing deadlines, or just like, let's just say you have to get a smog check or pay your registration, and it's like, and this is just one of many examples, right? And it's like, I know this doesn't feel good. It takes forever. Like every day I'm like, I'm not doing it. I feel very like bad.
Shitty about
stressed.
Yourself. Yeah.
And yet next time you have a deadline of something else, you still do it. Yeah. But there's no really
so frustrating
positive reward to that besides when you actually do it.
But if you give yourself a reward.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's funny how our brain isn't like, oh man, that was awful. Let's change that. Like right away,
Yeah.
Like where it's like if you get hit and you're like, okay, I really don't want to do that. But it's like, I think it's like right in between the middle, obviously more towards like the negative side.
Yeah.
But I think it's also just like the fact that it's really how you train your brain, because it's like, oh, this is normal.
Yeah. I think in your brain it's like, it looks at the issue and it's like, okay, do I want to fucking sprint up this steep ass hill right now? Or do I want to walk up this really gradual one? The steep one is getting the fucking smog check.
Yeah.
Getting in your fucking car and just doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's gonna be fucking. You're gonna have anxiety. You're gonna have to sacrifice personal time or whatever. But you get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or it's like, do I feel a lot less stress and anxiety for a fucking longer amount of time?
Yeah.
And it's like that is probably so much fucking worse than like, okay, let me just fucking, you know.
Go hunker down.
Hunker down and just do this fucking thing, you know?
It's like another
so
analogy.
Fucking annoying.
Honestly, same shit that you exactly just said. But it's just like, it's like, would you rather, like, you have to get to a destination and would you rather, like, swim for, like, 30 seconds? Where it's the same shit. It's like, would you just, like, swim for 30 seconds and, like, just get wet and, like, you're like, fuck, this shit sucks, but it's right there? Or you had to walk for 5 miles all the way around and get to the same destination, you know?
You know, it's kind of like, would you rather cold plunge for 3 minutes a day? It's going to suck, but it's short and it's just intense. Or do you want to live a life of, you know, misery, depression, anxiety, autoimmune issues, obesity,
sleeping,
you know, exactly.
You know, body fat tissue.
Feel like shit about yourself.
Yeah.
Or do you want to accomplish something and promote your health?
It's almost like, would you rather drive to the store or ride a bicycle to a different store? Anyways, yeah. So it's just funny how our brain. It's just honestly all this shit. Literally, I think all therapy is just like retraining your brain. Of the bad stuff. You know?
Oh yeah, literally, you're just unlearning all the bad stuff and learning a lot of like new, positive, helpful things.
And like, you know, even though you're older, I mean, we're still technically kind of young, but like even if you're 30, 40, it's like it's just going to be harder in a sense, like just learning a new language, right?
Yeah.
But it's still possible. I think it's just like don't lose hope, which is sometimes gets really hard when like the longer you wait or just the more shit you start thinking. And I think it's obviously like jiu-jitsu and stuff like that is really helpful, where it's like jiu-jitsu kind of is like, you know, you start off everyone sucks and then you realize like, oh, everyone sucks. And it's just training that makes me better. Yeah. Like, it's not like I can't. Yeah. Like, there's nothing where it's like you just can't. Like, unless it's like, you know, if I tell Chris, like, jump. No, actually. Well, if I tell Chris, like extend your wingspan. Like, that's something he can't do. Like, he just can't. It's stagnant. But it's like a lot of life you realize isn't that. Like, right now, if I wanted to be a doctor, I could. Yeah. Like, but in your head, you're like, I can't. Yeah. It's like you could. Yeah. And I think that's something that like is cool with all sports, which has kind of helped us and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And like accomplishing goals throughout your life. You realize like, oh, it's not, I can't, it's just time. And I think with this therapy, you get to some points where you're like, oh, I can't. Like, I just can't do this. And then your therapist is like, oh, no, you can. Let's just take it day by day. Yeah. And that's where it gets kind of like hopeless for a second, where you're like, man, I just can't get fixed, or I'm just going to always have this issue. Yeah. I was like, no, you can. Like, you just got to, let's just work on it a little bit, you know? It
was rough because, like I said, on last Saturday, I, like, kind of just fucking broke down. Mm-hmm. And, like, all, like, this issue I was, like, stressing on and trying to keep, like, handling. It just punched through the fucking roof. It kicked the door down. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I cried for, like, fucking 2 hours straight.
Did you cry to your therapist or no?
No, I did start to tear up like a little bit, but I don't know. It just seems so much more serious when I'm in there, and I'm just kind of like locked in because I'm like, I'm working on this. Like, I'm not just like
not complain, but like
I'm not just here to vent to you. Like, I'm here to fucking like work. You know? So I think it's like I'm just more concentrated, and it just doesn't really come to me. I fucking forgot exactly. I forgot what I was talking about.
You didn't even get to your point yet?
Oh, I was just saying it was rough because, like, I broke down, and then for, like, several days after that, or, like, almost all the way up until, like, I had therapy, I just felt so hopeless. Yeah. It's just, like, this thing I've been, like, trying to fucking figure out and, like, work on and, you know, stop feeling this way about this thing.
Maybe you should say the emotion.
So vague.
Or is that too much?
I don't know. I've just already avoided it for so long. Basically, I struggle with some, like, you know, insecurity and, like, jealousy issues.
There you go.
I'll say that.
I think that's pretty good because it's vague, and that's like everyone
they'll
does
get
that.
the point. And I'm sure a lot of people do. But, like, yeah, this is something I've struggled with for, like, so long. And, like, it just comes up again and again. And it's like, I just started to feel hopeless. And then like I talked about it in therapy before, and then I started to feel good about it. I was like, dude, I can do this, like I can fucking stop feeling this way. And then I just like, it wasn't working. And then I broke down about it. And then I just felt so hopeless again. And like so depressed. So fucking depressed. Like literally just like this all day. Every day. I swear to God, like my face, like there was not a fucking smile to be seen. I was just so like walking around my house, like.
Yeah. I think
fucked.
Like connotation like that you expect or you hear about therapy or you think a false connotation is that like you won't have bad days anymore,
Oh yeah.
Like where it's like
you're just fixed.
Or if I talk about it, it's good, and I think that's where you get it's scary because it's just like with weight loss and like the gym. It's like, oh, I work out, so like I'm not gonna gain any more weight or I'm not gonna look bad anymore. But then there's days where you're on the scale and it's like 2 more pounds, and you're like, what the hell? I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
Same with therapy, where it's like, oh, like I talked about like let's just say jealousy, and I've already talked about it like 3 sessions or just 1. Like
it feels embarrassing to keep talking about it for me too. I'm like, fuck. Like I already brought this up, and it's like I'm just stuck in the same spot I was.
And I think that's a very big mistake that we're gonna like learn early on too, because we're still early.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like we kind of just assume that it's gonna be like a session, an issue, a session, or a session, an issue.
What?
Like let's just say today I'm talking about my anger. Okay, that's 1 session.
Oh, and that's done. Yeah.
Okay, next is jealousy. Next is it's not. It's not like that. And it's just like it's those emotions just come up differently every time. Like And I think that's where it could be scary if you think like, oh, I'm gonna talk about it and we're good, because then you feel super hopeless when it does come up again. Yeah. You're like, dude, why am I feeling like shit this week? Like. Yeah. This sucks. Like it's not working. Like I'm not
like,
fixed again.
It's
like I'm not
mad,
fixable.
like,
yeah, like embarrassed. Like do I want to go again? Like
exactly.
Is this worth it? Like you start doubting yourself, and that's where it gets scary because that's when people quit. That's when people are like, oh fuck this shit. This doesn't work.
Yeah.
But it's like you kind of have to have your. Again, it's always like you hear about this graph that's like not linear, just like.
Oh yeah, I think it's one of the biggest fucking just misconceptions in life. It's like it's never gonna fucking be like this,
Yeah.
It's always gonna fucking be like this.
And you also have to think, which is really hard, is like the unseen or like like it didn't happen is almost like, well, yeah, maybe you reacted poorly like to this situation or you didn't act how you're supposed to, but maybe without therapy you would have reacted way worse. But you don't know that, You got to remind yourself like, oh, okay, like actually, maybe I technically did better,
A funny example I was thinking of is like basically about like similar to what you were just saying. I remember when I lost my virginity. Like
Jesus.
Before I lost my virginity, I remember thinking like, dude, once I have sex for the first time, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna have so much confidence after.
Yeah.
Like, I literally thought I was gonna be like a fucking different person. I'm not kidding. Like,
yeah.
I just thought I'd have so much confidence. I'd just be so comfortable and social and like, just a new person.
Yeah.
And nothing fucking changed. And I remember being like, well, damn. Like,
damn.
That didn't fucking happen.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny how you... And I think
that's the same shit with therapy. Like,
yeah.
You think like, oh, just because I started therapy, like, shit's going to be so much better. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, honestly, shit's been worse. But like, it's been worse, but I think it's because I'm fucking facing things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm facing shit. And it's forcing me to be really uncomfortable, because I'm just like,
actually facing
I'm being super vulnerable. I'm really diving into myself, and like in my journals, I'm really like facing shit, And
I think that's just gonna make your growth that much better. Instead of just, I mean, surface level is great because like especially when you're getting started, it's just like easy stuff, like getting your toes. But like the harder you go at it, I think just the more results you're gonna face, which is why therapists want you to open up because they're like, well,
the more results you're gonna get.
What did I say?
You're gonna face.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, you have to be careful, like I said, because it's like just like the gym. High expectations means like you gotta be careful. But I definitely do think like the more you're like take this shit serious and you're like, okay, well, I could open one door, I could keep it closed. Mm-hmm. I'll open the door and see what like happens.
Yeah.
My analogy.
No, I don't know. I was just thinking how just challenging this shit is.
Oh, therapy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's rough.
It's hard, dude.
And like we're saying, oh, like the masturbation thing. Yeah, dude. Like that was so... Because that was the first time I'd mentioned anything that wasn't like super...
Like surface level?
No. Like stigmatized almost.
Oh,
like I felt like like something you wouldn't say on the Thanksgiving table in a sense. Even though like all the shit I wouldn't like all the other shit maybe I wouldn't say at the Thanksgiving table, but I'm saying like just the topic.
Yeah.
Because like I talked to her about, you know, like other shit. I talked to her about other stuff. You know, I can't really remember. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But like all the other stuff, it's like the topic itself is something you could still say out loud without turning heads.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the stuff
like,
I'm actually saying I wouldn't say.
Or, you know.
Yeah, it's like the topic is anxiety. Like people talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But then you talk about like, oh, why you're anxious, all that stuff. Maybe I wouldn't obviously say that. But it's like masturbation. Even just the word.
Yeah.
Is like that's
like,
something
whoa,
I don't.
shocker.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
What's going on? Like who?
Heads will turn.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or just sex.
Yeah.
Oh, like you know that's in the again Thanksgiving table like where it's like family and stuff like sex. Jesus, you know.
Yeah. Totally.
So those things where it's like, oh, this is hard. You know, this is hard to say, and like you know, and
you
like
hesitate.
Yeah, and your voice is all like shivering.
Yeah, the
shit.
tone changes, and then you
Yeah.
start chuckling, and they're not laughing, and you're like, okay.
All right. Well,
They don't give a shit, man. I think they hear this stuff all the
Oh,
time,
yeah.
so it's
And-
like whatever, you know.
I think for us too, it's like, you know, we're only 23, so I'm like, I'm sure with like 30, 40, 50, 60 year olds, people who experience way more life
Yeah.
have even crazier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So it's like it's almost funny.
yeah.
Like funny. It's like
like all these little 20-year-olds scared
yeah,
to
they
talk
think
about
it's just
jerking off.
sex, you know, and like masturbation.
Sex.
Sometimes I'll like even like replace the word. I'll be like, oh, I'm like, you know, doing the thing or something.
Yeah,
you know?
I hate that because I do that too. I try to like sugarcoat it or like that, or I'll try to say stuff like super properly. I'm like, you know, I received oral sex instead of being like, she sucks my whole dick. Okay. You know, just something I wouldn't say anyways. But like, yeah, I'll be like super proper about it. I'll be like, you know,
I answered through the vagina. What is it? Vaginal cave?
The vaginal canal.
Vaginal canal.
I thrusted my rock hard penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. What else we got? Did you get the Sunday scaries?
What do you mean? Is that like the day before?
Like on Sunday, you know, Sunday in general, but more like Sunday evening kind of
Are you
feelings.
saying my Sundays?
Like, yeah, like for
Tuesday.
you it'd be the fucking Tuesday scaries.
Of what, work?
Yeah, where you're like, fuck, I have to go to work the next day, and you just feel like kind of depressed and like sad and.
I think recently, just because my manager and my work has been so shite lately, and just like no matter what, every week I'm just getting like certain news that I don't want to hear from like certain people and things like that. And I like these last 2 weeks has just been like, it's cool because some of my people are on my side, but I'm just like, I've gotten like kind of hopeless again, where I'm like, oh, like just nothing I could do is just. I'm still going to get these kind of like reactions and texts and meetings and under a magnifying glass. So lately I've definitely been like so not wanting to go to work and just being like, who gives a fuck? Like, you know, like it fucking doesn't, like in a bad way though, where I'm like, fuck this shit. Like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm just going to fucking go do my hardest, stress, and then still just get shit on. Like,
yeah.
But, I mean, that's why, honestly, partly why I called out today, which was nice, because it kind of got to the point where I was like, fuck this shit in a good way, where I was like, fuck this shit. I'm doing all this shit, and I'm getting these negative. You could answer real quick. What were we saying?
I don't know. I was talking about the Sunday scaries.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm just being like that. So, there's definitely time. But, like I said, with therapy, it's definitely helped, and like just my 3 days off, where it's just been like I feel pretty prepared. Like those first 2 days, like I feel still really good. I still feel like I'm a good balance, but then it's again just long shifts. By the third and fourth day, I'm like, you know?
Yeah, you've been working like a fucking dog.
Yeah, so it's been kind of interesting, you know.
Yeah. I think I just got pissed one day because I'll never forget this. I remember we were driving to do the pod with Javier Gomez and Marco
Mendes.
And I remember it was a Sunday afternoon, and I remember just feeling like those feelings of like, fuck, it's Sunday, like, gotta start all over again tomorrow, you know? I was just feeling like hopeless, kind of. And I remember thinking like, man, it's such a beautiful day outside, though. And then I was like, it is so crazy how like, today's just another day. It's just another fucking day on the earth. Oh. And it's the fact that we've created the fucking work week and the weekend and all this shit that's like influencing the way I feel. Like, it's just crazy because it's
you've
like,
talked about that a long time ago. I remember that.
Yeah. And I was like, crazy how society, like, these constructs are a big reason that we stress so much, you know? It's like,
stupid.
You have to have a job. You have to make money. You have to make money to fucking have a house and be comfortable and, like, healthy and all this shit, you know? It's like, I just got kind of upset at the world, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's me every day. Which is something I struggle with, you know?
Yeah.
Because I started thinking, like, big picture and then very hopeless. That's my
You're like,
whole...
how am I going to do this until I'm 60?
Yeah, that's my whole vibe, which is, like, I want to work with therapy. I remember there was one therapy session. I think it was, like, the second or third one. And I just remember seeing, like, my mask of sanity slip again, where it was just, like, I was just, like... And it's fucking stupid because I was like, dude, I'm
therapy?
working. Yeah. I was just like, I work, like, 11, 12 hours, and then I'm expected to try to do something physical, and then I'm supposed to have friends. I'm like, just doesn't make any sense. And like, for what? I'm like, in these big corporations. And I remember just like, for like
this
5
is a rabbit
minutes.
hole of like,
yeah, but that's how I literally think every day, all the time.
Me too. Yeah.
Where I'm just like, I get like a little bit of something, and you know, same thing with my nighttime routine and like the whole superhero stuff. It's like, it's like this stupid shit where I'm like, I gotta stop. I like it because it kind of keeps me not like woke, but it keeps me like, I don't know. For some reason, I had this like narrative where it's like it keeps me aware, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just not healthy because it's just like very hopeless by the end. You know, you're just very frustrated. You're angry all the time. You're frustrated. You're hopeless. It's all these bad emotions when you kind of start thinking like all this shit's out of your control. But it's like, nah, maybe just like live a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole because I feel like we talk about this a lot.
All the time, yeah.
Part of my like therapy like package thing that I pay for, like included in my subscription to BetterHelp.
And use code COZY for 10% off.
Is group therapy. Like I have access to group therapy sessions, and
like
there's
AA meetings?
like that kind of vibe. There's so many. I really wish I brought a fidgeter.
Just use it for a little bit.
Okay, there's so many things. Like it'll be like group therapy. I cheated on my spouse. What's next?
Wow.
Dude, gnarly. I'm like,
so
wow.
It's the title.
Yeah, like totally. Like it's like tailored to like a certain issue, you know, or it'll be
Yeah.
like anxiety, how to handle it, or like, you know, just shit like that. And my therapist has like recommended group therapy multiple times, and I'm like, I just don't think I could ever do that. Or like maybe not ever, but like right now, I don't think I could do it because it's like it's hard enough for me to tell this one person this who I've built trust with. So I'm like, I can't even imagine saying this shit like to a bunch of strangers who I've never met, but also that I'll probably never see again, you know? Or like,
yeah, rarely. Or maybe you form bonds, you know?
But I think one of the reasons she was saying like she ships the group therapy so much is like it just really puts shit in perspective because not only are you sharing and I think getting feedback from others, but you're also hearing other people who struggle with the same thing, like talk about their perspective, you know?
And normal ass people.
And then you all kind of like collectively, I'm assuming, like kind of talk about like how you guys can fix how you're feeling.
So there's no actual
like,
therapist you think in there?
No, I think there's a therapist. Yeah, there's like a therapist
nice.
in charge, or maybe a few. I don't know,
shit,
but like,
that's sick.
and then it's like AA meeting, like kind of.
Yeah, one therapist to guide, but a lot
metaphorically sit in a circle.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of guide it, and so I'm like,
That's sick.
I want to try it, but I'm fucking scared, you know? And I'm just like...
Worst comes to worst. That's it.
Literally. And the therapist's like, are you okay?
Like, Chris, can we hear about your experience? Yeah. Never again.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, but
do you
like...
think you would ever do that if you had the option?
I think so, and I think there's just like a part of me that's a little scared that I will take it less serious because of the way my brain works, and I'm like, oh, like you're a fucking loser.
No,
like to other people, you know.
You fucker.
Well,
that's the whole reason I'm scared to do this shit.
But I think in reality, like I wouldn't be like that because I think I only see it in TV shows, and that's why I hate sometimes in, like TV shows and shit. Like they'll show people going to therapy or like going to like meetings. And then it's always like the main character is like, this is a fucking joke. And they like kind of lash out and they don't really like, no movie's going to show you going through therapy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of got in my head a little bit where I'm like, oh, like am I in a meeting of a bunch of people? Am I going to hear this guy's sob story and be like, that's fucking lame. Yeah. But I don't think I would.
Yeah.
I think I'd be like, holy shit.
Like, wow.
Like, that's exactly what I do.
And I think it'd be like props to you for fucking saying that. Like,
and I think I'm pretty comfortable at like, and I think it would take a little bit of time to think to, to build trust and being like, oh, these people aren't doing that to me.
Yeah.
Or like judging me.
Yeah,
and if they are,
I mean, that's something I fucking still struggle with, I think, is like, I fear like judgment from my therapist still, which I'm sure like to some degree she is judging me.
Yeah, like human nature.
It's just human nature, right? But
it's,
it's tough, and I'm still trying to like break down that barrier of like, I gotta just say what the fuck I'm thinking or whatever is on my mind, or like the honest answer, so we can really work on it. Because I feel like it's hindering me a bit, like that I'm. And I told her like this last session is because that's kind of when she was coming after me a little bit more. And I was like, I think I'm always thinking about what you want to hear. Like, you know what, like, and also the way that she words questions sometimes, it's like she'll give me a question where I'm like, I have to fucking think really hard about that, because I'm like, I feel like it's almost like a philosophical kind of question where it's like, it's so hard to give an example, but
what is the point? What are you saying?
I think she's actually genuinely just asking a question, but in my head, I'm like, fuck, like, that could mean so many things. Like, what do you mean? Like, do I view this person that way? Or like, what do you mean?
Like you're not like answering like if you're with friends.
Like I'm thinking she's almost asking me a trick question.
Oh,
like
so you're trying to like answer
what are
with the
you
best.
trying to ask me right now? Like I start overthinking the fuck out of the question.
Yeah, it's like almost like when people like show you like a painting and they're like, "What does this mean?"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're like,
exactly. It's like, what is it supposed to mean? You know?
Yeah,
like
no, I think it's
that.
butterfly and rainbows, not like I fucking see my parents dead.
Exactly.
Because then you get scared.
Are you asking me like trying to get to some crazy deep place, or are you really just like surface level? And I told her that, and she's like, I'm literally just asking, you know?
Yeah.
But then she always does have some crazy ass response to it. So I'm like, fuck. Like,
yeah.
Which one is it? You know?
I think it's like maybe
it's
just answer like if you're answer truthfully.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the whole point. It's not, you're trying not to trick and manipulate your own therapist to make them, you know?
Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to talk about this because just something I do and I wanted to talk about just because, you know, was these notes. I was telling Chris something that I'm doing that I've been really enjoying is I don't really journal yet. But what I've been doing for my therapy, and I've been really good at it, is not necessarily, I do have some therapy pre-notes. I'll do that every once in a while, but rarely. That's usually just like, I'll just write down a couple topics I want to think about. Usually I have in my head.
Yeah.
Then I take therapy notes, which I also don't take that many just because I like to pay attention. And then like if I'm writing, it kind of hinders that. But that's also really cool because like there's some things she says and I'm like, oh, I want to remember this, or oh, this is cool and this is interesting, or maybe I want to look this up.
Mm-hmm.
And then specifically, the reason I don't take that many during notes is because I know I take a lot of after notes, and that is really nice and healthy for me. And basically what I do is that the session will end, I'll focus on my notes, and I basically just try to write from beginning to end everything I can remember that I just went through, and just in detail. Because then like during notes you're like, but like in detail exactly what I said, kind of what she said, what's the message, what did she want me to do, what can I do, and I just go through the whole therapy because I tell Chris and people like I struggle with like, and I realized this the first meeting where I was like, I finished my therapy plot and I was already like, okay, I'm going to go do something. Like I had to go do something.
1,000%.
I had a plan. Like I had like something I had to do. I was like, no, like I don't want to do that. Like I want to be like, oh, I just had therapy, and like I want it to be like drilled in my head, you know?
Yeah.
Because then I forget. So it's definitely helped me, I think, a lot, super specifically subconsciously, like just going through my notes after. So I'll write it, everything. And at the very end, I'll put like, okay, what do I need to do? And then I read it all just to like make sure. And dude, that shit is actually really hard. Like, cause
dude,
what I've struggled with, and I talked to my therapist too, and this was kind of like the whole like you can't versus training was reading, because we have this like 75-day challenge we're doing, and it's like one of it's is like read 10 pages of a book. Yeah. And I was telling her, dude, I was like, I struggle so hard to read because you can't stay focused. Right? Yeah, like I'm a paragraph in, and then I'm like thinking about a bunch of other stuff, or like I'll just wander off because of what the paragraph said. Yeah. And another thing is like I'll read the paragraph and be like, I have no idea what I just read, and I'll read it like 3, 4, 5 times, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know? Yeah, no, same here. And then I just thinking like, dude, and I told her, I was like, I'm just getting like, I feel like dumb and like hopeless, because I'm like, I just can't focus.
And you start thinking, is something wrong with my brain?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Do I have like a disorder?
Yeah, like ADHD or something, you know?
Exactly.
And she was like, no, she's like, just practice. She kept it really simple.
I think it's like meditation almost.
Yeah, she's like, I think she's that example. It's like, dude, like meditation, it's like, you're not going to get really good. You're not going to be really good. It's just something you have to train your brain, like, especially if you don't do it.
Yeah.
And especially if your mind's like opposite, you know, you're always doing a bunch of stuff. She's like, if you're doing this really for 75 days, I bet you by the end, you'll definitely get to like at least a few pages or whatever, like where you could really get through it. And same with this, dude. It's so hard. And honestly, the first few times, it's only been like the last 2 times where I wasn't anxious while writing after notes.
Oh, because you're like, fuck, I just want to be done already.
Yeah, like I'm like, okay, like I did this, but like I'm like, I just want to go back to bed, or like I want to go back home and like, you know, because I'm in the parking lot and I'm like, I just want to go back, or I want to go eat, or I want to go do something. Like I don't want to do this, you know, like I don't want to write this notes, like, and I'll try to sometimes, and I haven't yet, but I won't be like, I want to cheat myself. I'll be like, oh, that's good enough of notes, but I haven't finished my therapy like synopsis. So what I've been doing, which has helped, one is training myself. Like no matter what, I'm gonna get through it, and like kind of building my confidence, being like, okay, you're anxious, you want to finish, but don't cheat yourself. And then it's like I've learned to be like, oh, you could do this. Another thing that I've noticed, and same with reading, is if my phone is around,
dude, fucked.
Yeah,
fucked.
Even if I'm not checking it, it's like giving me anxiety because I'm like, I want to go on it. So what I do is. I do this every time. I'll like my therapy will end and I'll just toss it hella far in the back. Like I'll just toss it out of sight, like in the back where I can't reach it, and I'll just go like this. Like yeah, and then I feel so much better. Like there's like this weight lifted where I'm like, okay, I don't know what time it is. I don't want to feel like I have to check my phone. I have to answer text. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go on social media. If I did, I'd have to go climb back there, and that's an effort. Yeah, and it just makes the writing so much smoother. Same with reading. Like I remember I'd read and it's like in the corner of my eye, so I just like did it and like I just like tucked it under somewhere. And I was like, okay, out of sight, out of mind.
I was gonna say that's such a fucking skill in itself. Is like even when I journal, I feel that same antsiness where I'm like, I just want to be done journaling so I can fucking scroll on Instagram Reels already, or like listen to music or text somebody or whatever. And it's like, god damn it, like this is the best thing for me, and I'm trying to rush it.
It's like 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Less.
My quota is 10 minutes of journaling a day for our challenge, the 75-day challenge. And same thing. If I have phone's right there, and there's been times where I've really needed to journal about something, and I've kept my phone right next to me on my desk. Yeah. Fucking derails me so bad. Yeah. And I spend like 10 minutes at a time on my phone. Bad. And then I'll try to go back to journaling, and it's like, that is so fucking counterproductive. Mm-hmm. And you lose your train of thought. You lose the passion to fucking even write about it. So yeah, I'll put my phone on my bed behind me, because I'm like facing out my window on my desk. And I'll literally, I'll throw my phone on my bed because I'm like, fuck that. Like, it's going to only make shit worse.
How do you see this, Chris?
Oh, nice.
One of my notes is transition to me being controlling with Chris. Yeah, so I think that was just interesting because I think that helped a lot. Just that afternotes, something I've really not really done ever. Yeah. And I'm really proud of myself for doing it. I think definitely taking some notes help. And another thing I want to do is like before my therapy session, a couple things is like get a little bit pre-notes. Yeah. I think I'm still kind of bad at that, and read my previous notes again, just to be like, okay, where we were at last week. Is there anything that I need to come up, like that's going to come up again, or I haven't, we want to like flesh out. Yeah.
I just started doing that after therapy notes thing, literally the last time I had it. And it's so helpful because literally as soon as I was done, I was like, wow, that was like intense. Like, holy fuck, pick up my phone. And I'm like totally in a different headspace, totally not thinking about anything. I just absorbed, and you don't remember anything. Yeah. So it's so fucking crucial.
No, it's nice, dude. Just reflect. You feel so good. You feel like, okay, I'm actually like remembering and learning this stuff. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think,
I think I'm done here.
You're done? Let me just look at my notes for 2 seconds. I want to see if there's anything like crazy crucial, but I'm just going to skim if you want to say anything real quick.
Okay. There's a lot of other shit I want to talk about, but it kind of kept slipping because we just go to other stuff. But it leaves me excited for the next time. I was wondering, and I hate to take it here after this whole, wholesome thing. Oh wait, what were you talking about masturbating if you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I was just basically saying like I don't like to do it anymore, and I don't want to do it
at all
for like 10 years. And I just feel like it's like something that doesn't really serve me. And if I do want to do it, like I want to do it like at minimum. But knowing me, it's like at minimum turns to at maximum. So I'm like, I think it's better to go like kind of not cold turkey, but like edge myself off. Huh.
Dude, I wrote that for the first time in my journal like a few days ago.
I thought you just saw something bad. I was like, oh, shit.
No, and I was going to ask you, I don't know if that's what I think it is, but I wrote in my journal when I was journaling, it was like a really heavy journaling sesh.
Yeah.
And at the end, I put, I love you so much.
Aww.
To myself. And I was like, wow. Like, it felt so good because
good,
I never.
Right? Weird. Say that.
Like, I can count on one hand the times I've ever said that to myself in my entire life.
Yeah.
And it felt so good to write that. Is that what that was?
Yeah, so that's something I wanted to say actually too. Yeah, I put it on all my
all of them, huh? You
yeah.
just skipped
no, I put them on all of them. I love you, Jaime, for doing this every week. There's growth.
Nice.
I just I did it myself, hyped on how I hype me up. Oh, I didn't do it on this one, huh? But yeah, I've done it on all of them. Like, I love you, Jaime.
That's nice.
Apply this to life was my last one on that one. I love you, Jaime. It's just something I was like, you know what? Like, I'm doing the damn thing. And like I said, I don't really do this like notes thing or journaling thing much.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what's something that I could, because how we were saying before, it's like you build these habits and you're retraining your brain. So I'm like, give me like a little reward. So like, it's my little reward. Like, oh, I love you. Like, positive connotation. Like, you just did all your after notes. You did all this therapy session. You're here. Let's give you a little like something good, you know?
Yeah.
And you deserve it. And it feels weird, but it feels good. Because it
Dude,
feels
it's
like
so
corny because you're like, well, you're just saying it to yourself. But then once you
Yeah.
write it, it doesn't feel corny because you're like, oh.
Dude, it's nice.
Yeah, you feel really like you're hugging yourself.
That's so crazy that you did that too. Because
It
I
is.
wanted to talk about that on the pod that I did that. Tell yourself that you love yourself.
Yeah, dude. Because I think you don't realize like, because you think like, oh yeah, I love myself.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, well, when was the last time you said something?
Yeah.
Same thing was like, oh, I don't talk bad about myself. And then you realize like, oh shit, all the time I'm like judging myself, you know?
Yeah. Same with family. Like, you know, sometimes you might not say like you love your sister or like
Oh,
mom
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah,
but then when
yeah.
you do, it feels so good and like it feels good to hear them say it, you know? So it's like, imagine how good it is for you to fucking say it.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh shit, you know?
My therapist always says unconditional self-love in like all forms is the key to like life. And I'm like, wow.
Nice.
And one thing she's like, you have to love yourself even when you're wrong. Even when you're like, you're wrong and you fucked up and like you've done something so bad. And if you can still love yourself in that moment, like that's like so fucking powerful.
Nice.
I'm like, damn, you know?
That's good. I don't really, let me just take a look, but I don't think I looked. I don't think I have anything crazy game or, yeah, see conflict in a sense of wanting two different things at the same time. Now it's picking which side is going to serve you better. She always says what's going to serve you. She's like, leave things that's not going to serve you and you start learning things that will serve you, you know?
Nice.
An example, you need to write a 100-page paper. You know, even though relax seems more desirable, being prepared or completing the task is what's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just like, you know how I said, like even if you desire the other side, it's like what actually serves you, which is really nice because like it's just like vices. It's like technically you want to pick the other side, but it's like what's gonna actually serve you. You know?
I like that word.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you said. It's like what's gonna serve
Because it makes
you.
sense. Like this is not fucking helping me in any way.
Same thing with like
You know?
she's saying like you know, you don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'd be like, oh, like I didn't even know I was doing this wrong, or I didn't know I was doing this weirdly. And she's like, well, you don't know what you don't know until you know.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
Are
But
you
yeah.
attracted to your therapist at all?
Jesus.
Well, in the beginning we talked about
like the fears. Nah, I mean, not really. And I don't even go through that wormhole or entertain the idea at all because I'm sure it could, you know, I could, but I'm like, I haven't even thought about it, so don't agree that in my head, and let's move on. yeah, but it's been good, honestly. She's great, and like I said, there's been technical difficulties and stuff like that, but she's been good. I think sometimes another thing that I was thinking, same with the book, where I'm like, I get distracted. I told her too. I was like, well, sometimes like even when you're talking, I get distracted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know,
yeah,
like,
you start wondering. You're like, what did she just say?
Stop. Yeah, and like, you know, she'll go on because she doesn't talk that much in a sense. Like it's a lot of me talking, But sometimes she'll talk for 5 minutes. Especially this last one, it was like I didn't have much to come in with. So she's like, okay, let me tell you about all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd go on like talks for like 7 minutes or 5 minutes, and I would just be like
thinking about other shit.
Fuck, you know, I'm like
Hate
stupid. Yeah, you know, same thing. We're like stop, you know, and so that's something I want to work on is like just start, still take everything like serious.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like maybe just it on being on phone or something. Not serious, sorry. Just
stay focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like something to do with being on the phone or something, but sometimes it's just like I feel like I don't feel like I'm in the room, you know, with her words.
I'm like that in fucking everyday social interactions as well. Like
yeah.
When I'm talking to people, I start drifting and thinking about my own shit while they're talking, and I'm like, fuck, what did they say? And like, I think they said this, and then I'm like, da-da-da. Even on the pod sometimes I do that, and I'm like, fuck.
She Betty with her better friends.
All right.
I think that's pretty good on hour 15. Well, that was our second episode of Pursuit of Coziness, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Congrats to us. Just some things we wanted to talk about with therapy, kind of. For me, I'm 7 session in. Chris is probably at least more than 12, I would say.
Yeah.
So we're getting there, you know, because it's funny how so many for how long we wanted to do it, and now we're doing it. And now we're in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still actually like really babies in comparison to, you know, a few years.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited. I'm hoping the next one maybe a little bit of a shorter gap. But obviously, again, always DM us or whatever, comment if you have any actual specific questions, even if you're not in it or if you're in therapy. We'd love to help. That's the whole point of this. It's kind of like
let's talk about it.
Make this make this more like a relatable kind of thing, you know, not just like I've heard about therapy or I've heard about it or seen it in movies. Like, oh no, this is maybe a lot of these our viewers are people we know. So always ask us and message us if you want to hear anything super specific. And I wanted to say one more other thing and I can't remember, but you want to say something more? Anything else?
Oh, really? Thanks for listening. We got I feel like I got good feedback from this, and like multiple people telling me like I really like that you did that one because it's just a different feeling. It's black and white, so it's like a different vibe, different environment, I guess. But yeah, I think it's just nice for them to hear us be super like genuine and not just. I mean, we always are genuine.
Yeah, but not just,
you know, on the cozy show,
goofy.
It's like goofy, fucking around, talking about, you know, dick and balls all the time. So it's nice, I think, for people to like just see a genuine, like sensitive side. Hope you like it. If not, fuck off.
Stop.
All this positivity.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching.
Lastly, something we should say, I think, every time in the beginning is how we got into therapy, just real quick.
Okay.
Chris went through BetterHelp and
nice.
didn't really go through his insurance or anything like that crazy. So, you know, if you don't have that, don't worry. Try to find discount codes, try to get deals.
Yeah.
Maybe make it a little more affordable. But
there's a lot of discount codes out there for BetterHelp.
And then I went through.
And they have a financial aid thing that can make it even cheaper, which is what I did as well.
Nice.
So.
And his is online once a week. And he could change therapy without even having to talk to the therapist. And I went through my insurance. And obviously it's a little cheaper for me.
Yeah.
And again, I could change therapist by like calling my social worker or even just telling the therapist. And I go once a week as well. So just kind of two different outlooks. And if you're looking into it, always, of course, the whole point of this pod is just do it. We spent years, literally a couple of years, you know, a few years just thinking like we want to get in it. And so, you know, if you're thinking, man, I've been wanting to go for 5 years and I haven't, there's no point. It's like, dude, it's in your head. Just
don't wait for rock bottom like I did. That's what I did.
Yeah, like don't wait till you're down bad and then hope that you make it out sane. Like just go, you know, if you feel in a certain way, even like we said, if you're pretty down bad, you know, it's possible, but it's even better when you're not at that point, you know, when you're still kind of younger, when your habits haven't been like calcified. But yeah, good stuff, guys. Love you so much. Make sure you guys say I love you to yourself in the mirror or something. And I love you, Chris.
I love you.
Love myself because we're doing the damn thing. And we'll see you guys soon. Peace.